My name is Aaron Ladd, host of the Chief Squad Show here on the Locked On Podcast Network, and to absolutely no one's surprise here on the panel, and I'm sure listening, I am against the Kansas City Chiefs reuniting with Tyreek Hill. I'll tell you why in this episode.
I'm Ryan Tracy, and yes, you want to know what's going on in the building. You want to have an idea what it's like, but no one cares. The report cards don't mean anything, and this isn't going to change anything for the NFL.
And I am JC Pearson, and not only are we going to talk about why the Chiefs should sign Tyreek Hill, but they should sign his Miami teammate, Bradley Chubb, as well, in my opinion.
And I'm Darren Smith. Of course, Aaron, everybody knows Aaron is a Grinch. He didn't want Eric Bieniemy to be back. Did the Chiefs listen to him? No. They're not going to listen to him again this time.
Chiefs Kingdom, stand up. It's the Chiefs Squad. Everything Kansas City Chiefs every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from Arrowhead Stadium, the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Squad up. The Chiefs Squad Show starts now.
A new week and a fresh new episode of the Chief Squad Show here in the Locked On Podcast Network. We appreciate you making us part of your week. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, do all those things that make shows and platforms successful. We greatly appreciate it. It is noticed. We've had very active chat rooms here when we live stream Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 o'clock KC time, but we see all the comments and the love afterwards as well. I've been getting some followers on social from the Chief Squad Show. Keep it going. All of our guys, much appreciated here on the platform. We're going to get to a couple things on this episode. NFLPA report cards in the news. It looks like those won't continue, and how will that impact Kansas City? Obviously, the apple of the day and the big topic on the board is Tyreek Hill. He's released from the Miami Dolphins. Is it worth Kansas City taking a stab at him or Bradley Chubb? We discussed that, as well as the move to Kansas for Kansas City and Travis Kelce making some public comments on his platform. But let's go straight to the NFLPA report cards. And Ryan, you hit on this a little bit, so I'll pass you the ball first on this one. I think these were interesting. And just to give a little background for somebody who's out of the loop, every year, the NFLPA, the Players Union, had put out these progress reports where players were able to rank and give grades just the same way that you got in grade school to a various amount of topics: locker room, nutritionist, food and dining area, training staff, head coach ownership, just to name a few. Specific to the Kansas City Chiefs, they were a team that didn't really get passing grades on these report cards very often. I'm looking at their 2025 report card. They ranked 26 out of 32 overall, and there were some comments about the facilities and whatnot. But the NFL's put the kibosh on that. Ryan, what's your early reaction to this, and why do you say it means nothing?
I think it's a legal battle between two entities that have enough money to throw at a legal battle. I don't think it changes anything because the report cards themselves are not important. What's important is holding ownership to accountability, and I think the NFLPA and the players themselves will find another way to do that. I don't think the report cards themselves matter at all. It's about bringing visibility to what you are put in a daily position to be working in as an athlete, and I think they'll just find other ways to bring that to light and to put a little bit of pressure on the ownership.
And let me say this, because I don't want to be misunderstood. The report card will still happen. It just can't be released publicly. So they'll still be doing it. Now, whether or not the players want to leak it to anybody, they can do that, and the reporters can, can put that information out. So the report card will still continue and will still take place because the Players Association, they're not going to end it. It just can't be publicly released, which is interesting because if you remember, I think it was Adam Schefter, someone who released a memo, but in the memo it said, confidential, but somehow he released it to the, he got it and released it to the general public. So if I'm a player and I've already put on social media, hey, hit your boy up, I will gladly release it. And to be honest, and to be frank, when they have those meetings with the PA comes, they visit all 32 teams throughout the season. The players always let me know because they know I'm like front and center, when it comes to labor and stuff like that. And I have, at least when DeMaurice Smith was the executive director, I had his ear, information, stuff like that. So like this past year, one of the players, we ended up going to lunch and he was kind of telling me what was taking place during that meeting. So it will still go on. It will still take place. However, it just won't supposedly be for public consumption. Like the Players Association, they can't release the information. That's not to say anyone else can't get it and release it like anything else does.
Yeah, but the public knowing and releasing it to the public is what puts the pressure on the owners to make that change. And we saw that a couple years ago when the Chiefs got Fs and graded out F because of the locker room, the training, the training facility, all of that stuff. And then they did make some changes to it. But unless they're put in those positions, they're not going to do anything. So by releasing it to the public and having that public scrutiny, that's what puts the pressure for change. And we've seen that in the past. And, we all know that these owners, if they're not pressured into it, they're not changing anything. And you can go back to the whole concussion thing, the Corey Stringer thing, all of that. Unless they had the pressure to the public pressure and the scrutiny, there was no changes being made. So it still needs to be publicized somehow.
And to that point, like even the owners, I believe it was the Denver Broncos, they said it was because of that report that they looked at building a new stadium that they paid for, that the owners are paying for, not going to cost the city anything. They're paying for it out of their own pocket. They're going to build a brand new stadium, press facility, all that, because based off of what the players talked about in there. Now, it did, this got to the point because of Woody Johnson in New York with the Jets, because he was given an F last year, and he took real strong offense to it, and so he was the leader, he was the ringleader in trying to make sure that this did not get out. Which again,
of course,
the memo stated this was confidential, but they released it to the press. So I think so my message is to the players: while it can be quote unquote confidential, leak it just like the NFL did there. Because here's the thing: if they would not have won that deal when it came to the report card, it wouldn't have been released. Because the Players Association would not have released, because they didn't release the fact that they actually won the collusion stuff last year. And then, but that's another situation. So hopefully this time around, that the players will learn to start doing things the way that the owners do and start playing dirty like they do.
I think
that's why I'm saying whether you release it or somebody else, it just got to get out. You just got to get it.
Yeah. The problem with the players releasing it is that they don't, where do you get the results at? You vote, but you don't know what everyone else does. So you don't know the result of the vote.
Well, no.
So a player can maybe release what he did, but you can't do you don't know the totality of the.
They're going to get the results back. They're still going to get the results back.
So the Players Association is still going to get all the information and still put out the report card. It'll just go to the players and it'll quote unquote be in house, so to speak. It just can't be. They cannot release it to the general public. So, but if like the secretary decides, Darren at KLKC Radio hit send, and I put it out there, then it's just out there.
I think this is a very specific Chiefs topic as well, because they, like the Jets you mentioned, Darren, had come under fire in some of these NFLPA reports. 2024, Clark Hunt gets an F- for ownership. The Chiefs get an F for training staff. They get an F for locker room. They get an F for nutritionist. Then they come back in 2025, and those numbers are upgraded. They listen to it. They're getting C-. But on the other end of that, let me finish this before I give it back to you. Yeah. They also have some of the loudest microphones, the most powerful players. When Patrick Mahomes was quoted in a Sports Illustrated article where he's telling Clark Hunt, can we turn the AC on in the practice facility over the summer when I'm filming some of my commercials? Those things get back. These owners, while they are cheap and while they do penny pinch, they don't want to be known as being cheap, and they don't want that being blasted out to the general public as, we're a cheap owner or we're penny pinching and we're not treating our players right. I think where this hurts the players and this not being public is it isn't guaranteed for them to have it attached to them. And it is a loss in that factor.
Well, the thing that I was going to come back and say was that while they might have gotten a quote unquote C, and I kind of pushed back to JC some, there were no true upgrades in the because they were talking about the locker rooms in the practice facilities, and I'm there. There's no upgrade there. I mean, the lockers are still the same. There's nothing different about that locker room that we see over.
Yeah, well, they did. Call it what you want, but they did when they upgraded the locker room at the stadium.
Oh,
no. Listen, they took those lockers and moved them down to the practice facility. They did, whether you call that an upgrade, it's an upgrade on what they had down there. Now, did they buy new ones? No, but then they did do redid the whole cafeteria thing for the training table and the food and all that. They did do all of that as well. But my point is none of that would have taken place if there wasn't public scrutiny. Yeah, they wouldn't have done any of that, because those lockers that were, first of all, those lockers that were in the locker room at the stadium, those were the same lockers that we used when I was there. The lockers the lockers that they had down at the practice facility was the same lockers they had when I was there. So it's not like, they weren't going to do anything unless it was brought to light. So yeah, it was definitely needed.
And the crazy thing is that Clark's excuse, which, while somewhat true, is still a stretch of the imagination, because you can still do work on it throughout the year, was the fact that because their season ran so long, they never had time to actually tear it down and build it up. It's like, bro, come on, man.
Sound good. Yeah, right.
Stop it, man.
That's only one part of the report card, too, because I remember in 2024, they really got raked over the coals specific to team travel. The Chiefs were flying everywhere. They had games on different days. And one of the biggest complaints was the hotel and the coach bus and us getting from point A to point B. They made improvements. And I just wonder if these reports and these grades are taken behind closed doors, if we don't see changes or improvements at the same speed. Now, the Chiefs, as we'll talk about a little bit later in the show, are going to make a big improvement in 2031 when they move into a new facility and everything is state of the art, yada, yada. But until then, the 5-6 seasons you have until then, are you going to let stuff just fall apart and it's going to be holes in the ceiling and nothing works because now the grades are behind doors and we're already moving somewhere and it's announced? Or are the players going to find a way to use back channel deals, as Darren was kind of saying, to keep trying to put their thumb on the pressure and change things?
I got a question for JC because I thought that is it the team or is it the league that has all these agreements in place when it comes to the travel and where these teams are staying at and how they get by? Because
no, you have a person within the organization that does all the travel.
Okay. That's what I was wondering, because if you all knew what the NFL gets to host or what the cities give up to the NFL for them to host a Super Bowl there, would make people more upset at the NFL than even Clark Hunt trying to get trying to get taxpayer dollars, because they get everything for free. And when I say everything, I mean everything and then some.
And they weren't only upset about the hotels that they were staying at on the road. The hotel that they were staying at in Independence for home games was, not good. But then again, that goes back to kind of why they're going to Kansas too, because what nice hotel is really around the stadium? Right. I mean, is there anything nice? So
they had 50 years to do some stuff to put.
No doubt. But I'm just saying right now. So they go out to Independence out there by, Bass Pro, and that's just a mid-level hotel that, the carpet's dirty. They say, all that stuff. But
you can't get your game right. You can't get your mind right in a Motel 6, JC.
Depends on what you're trying to get right, I guess. But
the lights aren't on for you.
I mean, but look, but to JC's point, like the visiting team they stay. I mean, they would either stay at the Intercontinental, at the Sheraton, or at Crown Center. Those were the 3 hotels that that the teams will stay in. I think it's now just the Intercontinental. They may still stay at Crown Center every now and then. I'm not sure, but I mean, but like you said, compared to where the team stays at, and if I remember correctly, Patrick stayed, I think, at the Sheraton during COVID, because that was the one time that he stayed away from bringing them, because he wanted to make sure that he was focused and didn't get sick or anything like that. So that was the only time I remember him staying at a hotel for like most of the season that year.
Yeah, but the bottom line is to your point, Aaron, if you're Clark and I mean, it's a done deal that you're leaving in a number of years, are you really going to put any money into it, right?
He didn't put any money in before when they were staying.
Exactly, right? So he's probably like, hey, you guys can report all you want. Hey, when we get to Kansas, everything's going to be brand new, and that's going to be
he will say that, but I will also say this. It is going to be up to us, the media, to do our jobs and make sure that we hold Clark and Mark Dove and everybody else, hold their feet to the fire, and making sure that stuff that was addressed during the players' report, whether it gets leaked or not over the next few years, we stay on top of that to make sure that so that they're doing right by the players. So that's the responsibility that we have to do on our end.
Let's take our first break here in the
media food.
Oh man, look, I'm gonna bring my gauge regardless. I'm good. No, because what's gonna happen is hopefully they have somebody other than an error mark out there, feeding us. So
doubtful.
Right.
Let's take our first break here on the Chief Squad Show. When we come back, we discuss Tyreek Hill. Is it time for a reunion? You're listening to the Chief Squad Show here in the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hey, it's Matt Derry from the Locked On Lions podcast. The people I love depend on me. If I'm gone, the financial responsibilities don't disappear. I didn't want my family figuring things out during the hardest moment of their lives. That's why I knew only one place to go. I chose life insurance through my friends at Ethos. Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy, 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month. I love the folks at Ethos. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get the free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. That is ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. Ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. Application times and rates may vary.
We are back in on the Chief Squad Show on a Tuesday. Aaron Ladd, Darren Smith, Ryan Tracy, and J.C. Pearson. It was a President's Day fire sale for the Miami Dolphins, but possibly the crown jewel is wide receiver Tyreek Hill, an 8-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro, currently rehabbing, obviously, the major leg injury. But he is an unrestricted free agent for the first time in his NFL career. I want to have a few numbers I read before we jump off on this topic because it's been discussed quite a bit on social media already. Tyreek Hill's ranks with the Dolphins in 2022, his first season, he was second in the league in total catches as well as receiving yards, tied for second in 2023, and first in receiving yards in 2023, which is amazing considering some of the quarterback play that he had down there. But then the fallback in 2024, 21st in receptions, 30th in receiving yards, dislocated his knee and tore his ACL in the fourth game of the 2025 season. Darren Smith, is it time for Kansas City, who is in desperate need of a wide receiver one, to reunite with their old flame, Tyreek Hill?
Oh, man, you already know. Reunited, and it feels so good, man. Of course they should reunite. Now, look, obviously, it is all contingent upon him being healthy. I mean, I'm not going to be naive about it. If he's healthy, they can make the money work because there are a few teams that have the money that can offer him a big contract, but no team will because they don't know when he's going to be back and whether or not he's going to be back at full strength. Because I was listening to a couple of shows yesterday, and I know some teams, some players were talking about him going to the Chargers or to the 49ers, and it's like he needs to go where he'll be accepted and where he doesn't have to be the number one option if he's not exactly 100%. Again, if he's healthy, I think that if healthy, I feel like he can be the number one on this Chiefs squad, even though they don't need him. They wouldn't need him to be. However, if he's healthy, I would say, Chris Jones agrees, bring him back.
He doesn't have to be number one.
Exactly.
He can come in here, he can share the load, and for him, he can rebuild what has been, honestly, a rough go in the downward spiral of that quarterback play in Miami. And if he can do that, he might be able to stretch another 2 years out of his contract, right? Out of his lifespan within this league. So I think it makes sense for him as well. The question is everything else, can you get him for a hamburger and some incentives, or you got to bite the bullet and pay him up in the market value as a top 10 receiver? That I just don't see how that could work.
I think it would be more incentive laden because he basically be on a prove it deal because he's an unrestricted free agent. And here's the thing. People talk about in Miami or the Chiefs lost in this trade. Both sides won. Kansas City won 2 more Super Bowls and went to 3. Tyreek Hill got the money he wanted. I mean, I'm saying so to me, and Tyreek did not leave Kansas City on a negative, on a negative end. So again, there's no reason why the Chiefs would not bring him back because you bring Kareem Hunt back, who changed his image while he was in Cleveland and was on a straight narrow path. Now granted, Tyreek has some issues that he's got to deal with the NFL as it relates to his ex-wife, but that's going to get dealt with. And if he gets suspended or whatever, he can get suspended and still be hurt. That'd be all fine and dandy. But when it comes to what he brings to the team, I just think that he needs to be someplace where he feels like he'll be wanted and where he doesn't have to worry about the pressure of being the cheetah once again.
Yeah, I think it's a win-win for both sides. And this is really the only way that it could have happened is because the Chiefs couldn't trade for him. This is the only way that it could have happened. We know that he wanted, and he's talked about coming back to Kansas City. I think it's a win-win. I think you can get him on an incentive-based contract, maybe a 1-year prove-it deal, and then see what happens. And why wouldn't he? Because that's what he's going to have to do anywhere that signs him. But if I was the Chiefs, my medical team would be in Miami today, doing a physical, looking at all the records, checking them out, everything, and trying to get that done. I've seen him. Some video of him moving around a little bit too. And, it's only been like 5 months since his surgery. And, he was moving around pretty decent, wasn't running or any, full speed or anything, but still moving around. So, I've got no questions of that. Is he going to be healthy or not? And then again, if you have him on a prove it type deal,
he's going to want
hungry, and coming back, to somewhere that he's comfortable, somewhere that he wants to be, somewhere around people that he knows in EB, the old gang, EB, Andy, Pat, Travis, Kelce, all those guys, I think you're going to get the best out of them. And that's why, I think it's a win-win for both sides. And still, if he comes back and he's 80% of what he was, he's still the best receiver we have because he's not just a speed guy. He's a receiver. He can run routes, catches the ball, does everything. And
he's a better receiver than the receivers that we have here.
That's what I'm saying.
He's a better receiver than more than 3/4 of the league. Let's be real.
Exactly.
You go three deep on every roster, he's still up there.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And man, if you put on his highlight video from, just even the last 3-4 years, it is crazy. And again, going back to his speed, it's not just the flat out speed, it's the quickness, it's the strength, because he's short, but he's not small by any means. He's a muscled up dude. So it's a win-win. And again, like I said, if I'm the Chiefs, and I don't know if they have yet or not, but my medical team would be in Miami already.
And let me say this because I do see some of the comments. Let me try to educate our audience. And when I say like this, first of all, the Chiefs are $60+ million over the salary cap. So again, money has to work on both sides. And the thing is, we don't even know if Rashee Rice is going to be suspended. So for people who just think that bringing Tyreek Hill back, why bring him back? We don't even know if Rashee Rice is going to be available all 17 games. And if you can bring Hill back and he's healthy, it's going to help those players because they'll be more open and hopefully be able to catch the ball, which they have, which a lot of them had these drop passes stuff over the last couple of years. And if Hill is there, he's going to be drawing the double coverage versus an Xavier or Rashee, and that will open things up for them along with Kelce. People got to think this stuff through, but I guess they don't.
So let me ask you this though, Aaron. You said that you're against it.
Yeah, why?
Why are you against it though?
He just wants to be that guy.
No, I do as badly as I do think that this podcast needs a sane voice and a voice of reason at times.
Did you say sane?
It comes down to a couple of factors for me. For one, I don't think Tyreek Hill is going to take a prove it deal at this point in his career. He's an unrestricted free agent for the first time in his career. This is probably one of his last paydays, if not his last major payday. He's looking at, hey, I could take a prove it deal to win again in KC and on incentive laden that maybe works out, or I could go to a bad team, not really win, get all the boatload of money and take care of what I need to take care of.
He just did that, Aaron. That's the whole problem. He made the playoff once.
Secondarily, I personally do not want to be in the Tyreek Hill business anymore. I think
thankfully it ain't your money, Aaron.
I think we've seen this story before, and I don't know how many more times we have to continue to do this. We're going from one wide receiver with off the field troubles and Rashee Rice to potentially bringing back another wide receiver with off the field troubles and Tyreek Hill, who they struggled to contain while he was here the first time. And there was many stories that I heard about all the trouble off the field and them trying to make sure that he was staying in between the navigational beacons to make sure that him and Mahomes were on the same page about getting Lombardi trophies. I don't see it as a long-term fit either. If we're talking about a team trying to rebuild and retool to make a dynasty 2.0 run, essentially bringing back Tyreek Hill is a Band-Aid type of move where, as you mentioned, it's a 1 year, 2 year, maybe see what we can get left out of it and bring the band back together.
This entire upcoming season is going to be a Band-Aid more or less because you got Mahomes coming off an injury.
Well, I would say, to your first point about taking an incentive-laden deal, who's going to give him a huge contract coming off the injury that he's coming off? He's going to have to take an incentive-laden contract wherever he goes. So if I'm going to take that, why not take it here?
He's going to want more years. If he's not getting the money, then he's going to want years. He's going to want the security. The Chiefs aren't going to. The Chiefs aren't going to be able to offer both.
No, exactly. I mean, you give a 1 year, prove it. 1 year, we're going to give you an opportunity to prove that you still got it. Now you're on the open market. That's what you want. You don't want to be tied in long term to it, because nobody's going to give him that kind of contract. The second point is that, he's older now. He's gone through some things, the young Tyreek, and that had all the issues coming out of college, that kind of stuff, is not the same guy now. So, you can say the same thing about Rashee. I mean, right? Look at the issues that he's had.
Y'all spent all of last season asking for leadership. Where are our leaders in the locker room? And you're going to bring Tyreek Hill back in?
You're not bringing him in to be a leader, though.
You want productive? Exactly.
Hold on.
We're talking production.
You don't have to be the guy he was before.
Aaron, I'm going to change this right now, Aaron. If the Chiefs bring him back, I am definitely drastic this on you. I will go to Terry and say, hey, this dude Aaron was talking bull driver.
Tyreek Hill is not a leader. He never has been a leader.
So why does he have to be a leader now then?
Because
we've been in and ball out
this position group to have some sort of the last episode you bring in a veteran leader.
Did you keep Juju on the roster as well? Will that help you out some, Aaron? There's your leader.
It's just not. It's bringing the band back together.
What is your definition of leader, though? I think that term,
lead by example.
Producing, lead by example.
But
what do you mean?
It's more than X's and O's. And JC, come on, don't put me in this seat though. But Tyreek Hill
but
has
what I'm
not been
saying,
the poster boy.
Tyreek's worst year is probably better than what the Rashee and Xavier have given.
We're
the Chiefs.
talking production. He doesn't have to come in and be the coach in the locker room. And part of it is, EB, right? That's what they're bringing EB back for that kind of leadership and discipline. They need him to come back and produce. He needs to produce for his career, for his next contract. It's a win-win all the way around.
Okay, and first of all, I got to put right, because whoever the Joe 0914 talking about Chiefs, first of all, they've never been in the locker room with the Chiefs because they don't know. Because again, they had DeAndre Hopkins, they also had Juju, so those are leaders in the Chiefs wide receiver room. So please don't just say stuff because you want to get Aaron to put it on a little cry out or something. It don't work like that. And, at least know what you're talking about.
There's plenty left to have conversation about the Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins when it comes to players they released. We'll continue our Tyreek Hill conversation as well as switch to the defensive side of the ball. On the other side of this break, you're listening to the Chief Squad Show here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs help you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help you get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on the Chief Squad Show. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. We are back in on the Chief Squad Show here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Aaron Ladd, Darren Smith, Ryan Tracy, and JC Pearson discussing some Miami Dolphins who are looking for new homes. Tyreek Hill, we can continue that conversation, or talk Bradley Chubb as well. He was another cap casualty for Miami. He was a first-round pick from the Denver Broncos in 2022, signed a 5-year – they sent the Denver Broncos, They sent Denver Broncos a first-round pick and then extended him 5 years, 110, had a torn ACL, missed 2024 with that, but had a team-high 8.5 sacks in 2025 playing in all 17 games. I'm much more in favor of this one. I mean, this is a position that we've talked about ad nauseum, trying to put somebody right next to Chris Jones. I think the money and putting it as a Band-Aid type of thing makes a little bit more sense here when you consider who the veterans are in that room. I'll start off by saying, sure, sign me up for Bradley Chubb. I'm still unsure about what Tyreek Hill's fit would be in Kansas City in 2026.
I would also sign. I know JC's with me on this. I would go after Bradley Chubb as well, because based off of what we discussed last week when we were having this conversation with with the draft and stuff like this, I feel more comfortable, as I said last week, with a veteran. With a veteran next to Chris Jones versus a rookie, and then you can get that running back in a Love or someone like that if you were to go in that direction in the draft at number 9. If he's even available at that time. So for me, I like that. I would like the Chiefs to go after him, sign him, when free agency opens up, and then it gives you a chance to focus on the offense at least in the first round. At number 9. I mean, but if they sign him and then they think they want to go get old boy as well, that'd be putting a lot of pressure on quarterbacks as well.
And correct me, Ryan, if I'm wrong, but they don't have to wait till free agency to sign Bradley Chubb, right? I mean, he's a unrestricted free agent. Yeah, they just got to clear the cap space. So, and I think it's gonna take more to sign Bradley Chubb than it is Tyreek, simply because Bradley played last year. Tyreek is coming off an injury and has to still prove himself. Bradley played last season. So it may be a little tougher to sign him. There will probably be more teams trying to get him. So the money's going to be an issue with Bradley Chubb. But if possible, absolutely, I'd sign them both.
I got no problem with them bringing him in. You're right. I think the contract's going to be the problem, but I think the sack numbers make things a little bit rosier when you take a look at how he played overall. He only produced 2/3 of the pressures that George Karlaftis produced, so it's not just a Band-Aid one fix. So I do think if you brought him in, you can get a decent contract. You definitely still have to look in the draft and combine those. You want to send waves at this pass rush this season.
Yeah, but man, that would help. Yeah, if you could get him with those other two guys and then bring in another, now you're looking at something now up front.
What type of money would a Bradley Chubb command, in your opinion, Ryan?
That's a great question. I don't think that. I mean, he's what he'll be 30 years old by the time the season starts. So you are a power rusher that Spags like. You are a guy that does fit. I don't think he can command $15 million a year at this point. I mean, I think he's under that. 12.
What did he make last year? What did he make last year?
I'll look that up while you give me your opinion.
Yeah, he probably made a lot, and that's why they released him. Yeah. So because he's probably making too much. But I just saw two that came across my phone. I don't know if you guys are, with Jalen Watson or whatever on Instagram, but I got a post saying that he said his farewells to Kansas City on an Instagram post.
Yeah, bro, that's old. We done talked about that on the show already.
Jalen Watson?
Yeah.
Really? I don't know. I just saw it again, so came on. But I know we've talked about should they sign him or McDuffie. I don't know. I never knew that he had said his goodbyes.
He did. The Chiefs are trying to make a lot of things work, and money is what a lot of these conversations are coming down to. And this is a story as old as time, right? The Chiefs, hamstrung in the cap, need to make some moves, but they get tied to every single free agent who touches the market, and maybe the guy will take a hometown or a Mahomes town discount to try and compete for a championship. And then when the rubber meets the road, the guys take the opportunity to take more money. And I don't knock them, and I get that. It's rare when guys say, you know what, I'm going to take less to try and pursue a championship, especially in Tyreek Hill's case, where he's already reached the mountaintop multiple times. And now in the back half of their career are just trying to get the paycheck and take care of the business and financial stuff they got to do behind the scenes. I get that KC is a sexy name to tie to a lot of things, but I don't see them as a true contender and a true landing spot for a lot of these high dollar free agents.
So to your point, Aaron, here's the thing. I'm with you on that when it comes to free agents, but this past season became an eye awakener, for the team and the organization, because they know that they have to get certain type of players on this team, and which is why they're going to have to let a lot of these players just walk and go somewhere else and let them test the waters and let the market dictate, what their price is. And so I said to say that the Chiefs know in certain positions they can't go cheap. Granted, they got to make the money work, which, again, by the rules of the league, they have to be under the cap. If they're not already by now, they have to be when the league year starts. I think, before the league year starts, they have to get rid of that $62 million deficit, or overage or whatever. And so I said it to say that they know that perhaps either a wide receiver, whether it's and they know what they got to get in the draft, so we'll see whether or not they do that. But they know that they need somebody on that defensive line. They know they're going to need some people on the back end. They know they're going to need a wide receiver. I mean, they know there's certain skill players that they have to spend money on. Yes. But that's why the salary cap is what it is. That's why Mahomes is going to get a big ass payday up front when it comes to restructuring his contract. He's going to get that, and they're going to spread that money out even further, down the road to where they can save money. That's how the game is being played right now.
And Aaron, you keep referring to Tyreek getting a huge deal.
He's not going to get a huge deal.
Yeah, I don't see that happening coming off the injury that he's coming off of. So I don't think that they're going to have to spend a lot of money to go and get him. They're not going to give him a long-term deal.
But there are teams with more cap flexibility that can offer him more now and in the future. Even if it's a huge deal, there are teams that can wiggle more and can negotiate more than what the Chiefs are because they're hamstrung.
Well, but how much more, and is it worth that little bit more to Tyreek to go to?
You're talking about a dude that didn't want to negotiate, that didn't want to kick his money down the road?
They got that money now. Right?
Hold on.
He went to Miami and got that money.
Hold on. Aaron, hold on. So I don't want people to miss us. So he was always going to get that money. It was just whether he was going to get it paid all up front, converted to a signing bonus.
Where he gets paid all up front. The restructure versus just he wanted what he was supposed to get paid after each game or whatever, versus just having it all one lump sum and then he paid for the minimum. So I don't want people thinking that, the Chiefs were trying to rob him or do something nefarious. He was always going to get the money that he's guaranteed. It was just how it was going to get paid out. But also, to JC's point, man, look, man, nobody's going to offer Tyreek that kind of money simply because, let's just say for the sake of argument, the 49ers wanted to sign him, okay? I was thinking about Vegas and Tennessee. Vegas and Tennessee, the two teams that need a wide receiver, that have cap flexibility.
Okay. First of all, why would he go to Tennessee? And you can save the money, but
with Cam Ward.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Tyreek actually misses winning. Winning matters to Tyreek. He didn't, sometimes you don't know a good thing until it's gone. When when he was in Miami and they came back that one time and they lost to the Chiefs at home, they lost to the Chiefs over in Germany. I know because I was there. He knows what it's like to be on the losing end and seeing Kansas City with that continued success without him. That does something to your ego, just like Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt felt like he messed out on some Super Bowls because of his behavior. When he was in Cleveland, the man was depressed because he felt like he should have been a part of that Chiefs dynasty. And so when he had a chance to come back, get off the couch, come back, he took what he could to get back on the playing field and to contribute to the Chiefs. Tyreek Hill, if he were to go to the 49ers, they have a history of their receivers being injured. Yes, you might get a big paycheck, but your career is going to get cut short again because you might get injured the moment you come back with them. Because all their wide receivers end up getting hurt.
It's hard to avoid, and I'll tell you this: I did look up Bradley Chubb. He was slated to make $31 million next year, cap number. Last season made 12 last year. At that level, I think that was paying him what he was worth. To tell you the truth, he had 48 pressures, 8 sacks. Right in 2023, on that previous contract, he put up 70 pressures and 13 sacks. So I don't know that he's that player any longer. And at 30, I don't know that you're going to see that the edge player continue to be able to output the performance that the wide receiver can. So I think that's part of the conversation as well.
Ryan, I got a question for you on his contract, on his contract that he got cut. How much of that was guaranteed? No, I'm saying, what was his second contract with the Dolphins prior to him
guarantee was 33.
Total 33?
Yeah.
Okay, so
average salary.
That's weird because how do you have a $31 million cap hit next year, and his contract was only for 33, and he got paid.
That was total.
Million.
That was total guaranteed. So it was the prorated structure was broke out 4.5 per year, 6.4 on top of that, and then the in games. Total contract was 3 years, 55 basically.
Okay.
Aaron is not feeling this Tyreek Hill
or trying to get you back to Chubb, Aaron.
Aaron wasn't feeling Eric Bieniemy too, but he got to get over it.
It just it does not move me. It doesn't move me. And
okay,
it's
this is not Mike Pennell coming back to the team.
It fits though.
This is not Mike Pennell coming back to the team. Okay, this is not.
I don't know. I don't know if it fits because somebody said it was that he didn't leave KC on bad terms. I don't know if that's necessarily the full story. I think that's the public story. I think the public story is, hey, you weren't going to get paid here. We found the best place and we got a good deal. We ended up winning Super Bowls in the end, which kind of cleared us of it. And then you went down there and kind of made a mess. And it was more.
I don't know, but I know that how they have the sound and audio when teams play, and I know pregame when the Dolphins played Kansas City. It was all love from his standpoint. Went to Andy and like, hey, love you, Andy. Love you, Pat. Whatever. To me, it was kind of cold on the other side. From the Chiefs side, they were kind of cold to him, but he was all love to the Chiefs. And and again, now I think it's a situation that is a win-win for both sides because he's familiar here. Came back to come back to where he's had success, where he started. They know him, he knows them, and the Chiefs need a receiver. He's coming off an injury, so you can maybe get him on a friendly incentive deal because otherwise there's no possible way that we could even be talking about it because they couldn't trade for him at the salary that he had. So this is the only way that it could happen. And, I think it's a perfect situation for both sides.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk more Tyreek Hill as well as hear from Travis Kelce, his comments on the move to Kansas. You're listening to the Chief Squad Show here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Have you ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into a reality with their NBA sweepstakes. So here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. I love futures this time of year, and so does Darren Smith. Whether it's picking a team to win the championship or grab a conference title, it adds that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now, not only can you pick cash, but it can also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Final segment, Chief Squad Show here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Aaron Ladd, Darren Smith, Ryan Tracy, JCP. You're not playing any NBA futures, Darren? That's off your board?
No. But I am doing some Major League Baseball futures. I'm doing that this year.
Darren's losing money already, man. I thought you would take some time off in the NBA, the NFL offseason.
I am. The games will start till Thursday. I'm good on that. I got time.
Oh, okay. I wanted to talk about this because we hadn't spent much time talking about the move to Kansas. I think we talked about it once when it was rumored and then once it's official, and then it never really came back on our radar again. But I thought Travis Kelce's comments were a good jumping off point, as well as the NFLPA reports. Kelce on his podcast says this, quote, "If you look at the deal in terms of an owner, it's one of the greatest opportunities you could ever get. I think it's going to be unbelievable once it's finally set in stone, but it's going to kind of be heartbreaking knowing the Chiefs are going to move away from Arrowhead and the Missouri side of KC." It's cool that the players care. I think that's what I think was my ultimate point from this. Like, I think a lot of times players, they're playing in a place that's not necessarily home for them. For Kelce, obviously, it's become home for him. They're there to do a job, and obviously they're part of the community, but maybe necessarily not in the weeds as far as the stadium stuff is concerned. But it's cool that he cares. Missouri is still reeling from this, and now we're trying to figure out where the Royals are going to go and all that. To me, I thought it was cool that he cares, and I wonder.
Well, you got to remember. Aaron, you got to remember. Arrowhead is the only home stadium he's ever going to play in. He's actually not going to be around long enough to play. To play in the new stadium. So this is all he knows. So of course he's got to have some kind of affinity to it because that's where for him all his records and all his history is taking place. And look, we all know. When he gets married, if and when he gets married to Taylor, when he leaves, he's not going to be living in Kansas. He's not going to pull a J.C. Pearson or a Dane and Hughes where he's going to stick around and make Kansas City home or whatever, and that's fine. So, what he said is rich. So I'm going to look at the positive of it because Arrowhead is all he knows. I just don't think it's really going to affect him much. I mean, he'll probably come back for the opening of it, but other than that, I think and to see his number retired. But other than that, I don't see Kelce really making that many trips to the new stadium when it opens up.
So you don't think he's going to follow the path? You don't think broadcasting's in the future or anything like that? Because I think he might be excited about what the booth looks like.
I mean, he could, Well, here's the thing. I mean, I know he's good on the microphone, but I need to actually hear him do some exhibition games, some college games, because just because you play don't mean you can call a game. And JC knows that very well. Where because JC's excellent in calling college and professional. So JC's had.
Thank you, Darren.
Well, come on, man. Hey, man. Look,
Yeah.
But dog, I'm gonna keep it real. Right. So I'm saying, so here's the thing. Just because he's a Hall of Fame doesn't mean he can call a game. I mean, a lot of players, a lot of players think that transition is easy, and it really isn't. I used to call football games, high school and college, and so I know it's difficult of a transition to do. And granted, I didn't play pro football or anything like that, but just calling a game and knowing, and when I didn't. Oh yeah. We'll see. I never made it seem like I did, Mr. Wide Receiver 1 over there. So I mean, it would be cool, but
yeah, really he's got so much. Yeah, his podcast. Didn't they sell it for like $100 million? Or something like that.
Yeah, plus he's going to be doing a game show and he wants to act. He's not going to
he's going to do movies. He's going to be traveling with his wife, and man, I don't.
And I'm going to be honest with you, Aaron. I'm going to be honest with you. I love Travis, but some things, and I would say this about Tom Brady as well. Some things need to leave to the professionals. Let people who actually do it for a living actually call. Tom Brady needs to go be a part owner of the Raiders and get that organization fixed versus taking somebody else's spot in the broadcast booth. But that's just me.
JC, are you looking forward to the move, or is it just so far away that it's not even really?
I think the move is
JC.
Yeah, I think the move is going to be good. The thing is, though, that the practice facility and the offices are going to be so far away from them. The only time they're really going to the stadium is on game day, or any special events. So, it's different where they are now because, we used to go to, work out in the stadium and, go back and forth. And so it really felt like home. But, now them being so far away and only going to the stadium really on game day, it's going to be a different feel for those guys. It's going to be like, hey, we're, it's home, but it's not going to be like Arrowhead. It's going to take some time.
And that is kind of weird because hold on, right? Because I was going to say, because if you think about it, where the stadium is supposed to be, I guess I don't know if they've really picked the location yet. I don't know if it's going to be out there, by the legends, and then but that's KCK. But then you talk about having to practice way out in Olathe. That's I mean, and look, and we know we get bad weather here, so that's something that I don't know, man. I wouldn't have done the deal, but
Well, from a business standpoint, you had to because the Clark and those guys. Everything. Yeah, so I mean, they had to do it, and then again, we talked earlier about the hotel situation around Arrowhead right now. I mean, they're losing so much money by when teams come into town, they've got to stay far away. It's just a bad setup right now, and they would have to, do a whole lot of renovations out there to make it a whole entertainment district, something that they're trying to do in Kansas. So, I think in the long run, it's, the fans, once they get used to it and everything, they're going to really enjoy it because it's going to be an entertainment district where they can go eat, stay, hotels, casino out there, the legends, all the things that they can do and go to a game or do after a game, so I think it's going to be beneficial in the long run.
The only thing I worry about is something that you brought up before about the team having familiarity and being inside the walls of that stadium. And if you're not, does that take away? The crowd's going to be the crowd. The fan base is going to be just as loud. I mean, I hope that they design it so it can maintain its volume level. But
I don't know
for
how
the
you do
players
that.
being in there and being familiar, what does that change? Do you think that is a disadvantage at this point?
I think for a while it's going to be, until they get used to it, it's going to be like almost like a road game. Every time you go in there, it's like, damn, they're going to be looking around too. If I were Andy, or, if Andy probably won't even be around by then, but whoever the coach is, I would do a lot of stuff at the stadium so that they are super comfortable. They know everything about it, and it feels like home when they go there on game day.
But here's the thing. This is my feeling about it is that I think by doing, look, and I don't have a problem with it. I mean, per se, because football should be played, especially when you get to the playoffs. I would like for it to be played, in the best possible environment, even though, we do have an advantage sometimes playing outside in the cold. The problem that I have is that when you go, everybody, including the players, is going to be like looking up at the bright lights, because it's just like when I travel to SoFi, once a year or twice a year, depending on if they're playing the Rams like they are this year in the Chargers. Every time you go into that stadium, you're looking at it like, good God Almighty. I mean, and so you get so fascinated to where it doesn't become a football game, obviously, until you start hitting, but you don't get the feel of it. Like, the feel of Arrowhead is not going to be there because it's going to be too high end, so to speak. And that's just my. And then also, you're talking about seating 65,000. Arrowhead seats like 78,000, and so that's the thing too. Like, you're not going to be able to get Super Bowls after the one time you get it, because you're not even at the number that you have to be at. Like, you have to, I think, at least be at 68 or 70,000 to host Super Bowls or whatever. And the fact that they're talking about capacity like around 65K.
That was a question for me. I mean, why would you build a new stadium and make it smaller when you sell out the larger stadium every week now? Why would you make it smaller?
And the price is expensive.
Yeah, but the prices are expensive now. What controls that is winning, right? Winning and losing.
Look at AT&T Stadium. I mean, they seat 100,000. Do you think Jerry Jones ever? I mean, hell, they set up for high school football playoffs down there. I mean, if you build it, they will come. I mean, because I think there was talk of the Chiefs. If they build that stadium, would try to get the Big 12 conference championship there. But I'm like, why would they leave 100,000 seat stadium and come to a 65,000 place? And especially with the weather and stuff, it doesn't make sense.
That part doesn't make sense. So hopefully they haven't settled on a design yet or anything. But that was crazy. I don't know why you would build a brand new facility and make it smaller when you sell out every game anyway. And and
the ticket prices ain't cheap either.
Right.
When's the last time you bought a ticket?
It don't matter. It don't matter. I'm not supposed to buy tickets, man. I sell them though. You know what I'm saying? I used to sell them back in the day.
Easy.
I'm just saying, when the Chiefs were bad, I had 500 tickets. Sure did. Hey,
good episode, y'all. Good thoughts. Any final thoughts before we get out of here? A good Tuesday episode.
Bring Tyreek back, whether Aaron likes it or not. Bring him back.
Okay, here's a question.
Oh Lord.
Who actually thinks he will be in a Chiefs uniform? So the first question was, is it the right move? Who actually thinks it'll happen here on the panel? Okay. So
I think both sides want it.
That's 2-2. See, I think all the information about a reunion is coming specifically from Tyreek's side right now. I don't think the Chiefs have put any information about who they're targeting in free agency. I think any inkling of them rekindling is like Rosenhaus trying to draw up some interest. Please, come on. Like, KC's interested. Aren't you interested, Vegas? Aren't you interested, Niners? Whatever.
I think his recovery is the biggest question mark here.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen reports and opinions that 26 might be lost for him. So I don't know that there's any impetus right now to get it done.
Tyreek Hill may not be back next season, but the Chief Squad show will be back on Thursday. You want to say something, JC?
No. I would say, I was just going to say, hey, their medical team better be on the plane, if not already there. Yeah.
All right, fellas, we'll see y'all Thursday. Until then, stay safe, make good decisions.
Peace.